Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, from classic tailoring to cutting-edge streetwear, menswear is redefining itself, offering more choices, styles and versatility than ever before. One brand that is at the forefront of the Irish menswear scene right now is Kempt. And Christian Lawlor, the founder of the brand, joins us now to delve into the factors that are needed to be successful in the menswear industry. Well, Christian, is it true to say that you learned a great deal about the menswear industry from your father?
Good morning, Carl. Thanks for having me on. Oh, well, I was completely raw coming into it, Carl. So I suppose I learned everything from him. First thing I always remember him telling me, the most important thing, was never oversell to a customer just to make up the numbers. Never sell a dud just to get your figures up, because in this business, in the menswear business, it's kind of changed in recent times. There's continuous drops throughout the year, but back then it was 2 drops a year. There was a spring and an autumn. So, but if you mess this guy around for a spring season, you have to go back to him the following autumn or following spring again, and they don't have short memories.
It's a very good point you're making, because your business is very much about the lifetime value of the client, isn't it?
It's vital. We're delighted to see new customers all the time coming to Kempt, but there's something special about a return customer coming back to you that's satisfied and that you've made happy, or that you've is happy to shop with you again. So yeah, I mean, looking after that, respecting that and valuing that relationship is very, very important.
Men are very much loyal to brands and creatures of habit, aren't we?
Totally. With Kempt, our first introduction was both shirts and trousers and a chino, and it was a really, really nice trouser. I just found when we launched that, and through discussions with some people, that they said to us, for the future, maybe the shirts is where to concentrate on. And the reason being, especially with a product like a trouser, when a man, and I don't think this is just Ireland, this is European, when a man gets a trouser that fits him well, he'll go back and stick with that brand time and time again. They're very loyal to it. Whereas maybe for a shirt or knitwear or maybe a piece of outerwear, they're easier to chop and change. But trousers in particular are a funny product that they do stay loyal to.
Something that is quite common here is that a man's wife will often go in and do the clothes shopping for them. Is that specific to Ireland, or is it something that you see happening across Europe?
It does happen throughout Europe, but I think it's very prominent in Ireland. And I don't think it's just rural Ireland. I think it's in the bigger cities as well, and Dublin. I think that men in Ireland, they just have more things on their mind, or their interests are elsewhere, rather than going into a shop and picking out clothes. So once their better halves find a brand that suits them and the size, they're just happy to go in and freshen them up every 6 months or even a year. And they know, again, going back to that brand loyalty, they know if they pick if they buy from the same brand again and pick the right size, it's going to fit them.
And before we discuss Kempt, I'd like to talk to you about Treadweave and the success which you had with that.
Yeah, so Treadweave is the main part of the business, is our agency business. It was founded back in 2002. Even though both myself and John, my dad, have been in the business longer than that, and it carries a great reputation in this country for bringing all European products to the Irish market, and we're lucky to have developed 3 or 4 very strong products on this market. Good bread and butter products that work well in this market. Have developed them very, very strongly over the years.
And how many menswear stores are you supplying around the country?
If you take, I suppose, in total, if you take stores that would have multiple locations, there could be 100, 115 doors around the country. You might look at it and say it's small, but you can't oversaturate an area or a market either. I mean, it is done. Brands do it, but we feel in Treadweave that it's just better to have a nice spread rather than trying to overdo it.
And how competitive is the market?
Very. I'm sure all industries are competitive, but the menswear business is exceptionally competitive. The textile business, I should say, is exceptionally competitive. With competition from really, really, really sharp multiple operators like Zara or people like this, who really have their finger on the pulse and are very good and very successful at turning things around and getting things to market quickly. To go up against something like that is a challenge. But the Irish Independent is very good at giving them a run.
And how do they compete?
I think one of the main features what they can do, and they're very good at it, is customer service in store. It's customer service in store. It's making sure that they stock quality brands that offer, a good value for money. Because at the end of the day, a brand going out the door of a store, just the brand. Really, what's going out the door in that bag is the reputation of the shop itself. It could be a Ralph Lauren or something like that. The lady, let's say, who bought that shirt, if anything happens to it, she's not going to blame Ralph Lauren. She's going to blame the store. So they work very hard at keeping their reputation to represent quality, value for money, and selection, a fresh selection of goods. But customer service will be huge as well.
Back in 2022, you established Kempt. But how are you making the brand stand out from the competition?
I wanted to do something a little bit different. However, I knew I wouldn't have the scope to do, a lot of ranges, a lot of styles, a lot of colors. So we decided to keep it really, really tight and concentrate on the classics. And we thought, instead of doing a dozen different types of shirts, let's concentrate and do a really, 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 really good white shirt, or a really, really good denim shirt or blue shirt. And that way we could keep the quantity small and focus all our knowledge and our focus onto a smaller amount of product.
In terms of the Kempt brand, are you focusing that at the casual or formal menswear?
We try to do as much with a single product or message as we can. So very much even down to our social media, the message that we put forward is to do both. If that makes, you can dress it up or you can dress it down. You can wear a Kempt shirt with the sleeves rolled up and a pair of shorts untucked, or it can look really, really good with a sports jacket and a nice pair of flannels, or a nice pair of chinos.
Are you now positioning Kempt as a premium brand?
I would, yes. It's to the entry level of, let's say, premium. Ultimately what I want to develop with this brand is a brand of quality, a brand that someone can wear and have for, a long period of time. Not a brand that they get a few wears out of and then say, sure, I don't need it anymore. I'll get rid of it and get something new. So I want people to respect or find respect for the quality of the product and want to keep it a long time.
And talk to us about the growth which you've achieved with the business to date.
That's been really, really, it's just amazed us. We had a number of boxes to tick when we started Kempt. Well, sorry, we had one box, the initial box to tick, which was, is there an audience out there for this if we go ahead and do it? We thought to ourselves, if we could get some business in Ireland, the UK, and maybe a couple of big cities for the likes of Germany, it would be an absolute success story. As it turned out, we shipped to Ireland. We shipped to the UK, all over Europe. We shipped to North America, Canada, Australia, the Far East, and furthermore than that, we've repeat and return customers in all those countries. It's unbelievable.
Are you also getting your product Kempt stocked by menswear stores across the country, or have you gone specifically digital?
We originally started out specifically digital and are there still at the moment, with the exception of we got approached by Grant Thomas back quite early on in the business, actually. They just sent an email to ask, would we do wholesale? And initially I thought it was maybe, there's quite a lot of companies in the UK that buy up old stock from people. I thought it was one of these people that was looking to clear old stock, until I noticed the domain name, which was brandthomas.com. And it was a box we ticked that was never on our radar. But it was amazing to be approached by, such a prestigious luxury department store.
And how do you keep abreast of the latest trends in menswear?
We don't tend to follow fashion. We would rather look at lifestyle than trends. And it's could be an airport, it could be a coffee shop or a bar in a major European city, and just getting inspiration by how other people dress in different countries. I get huge inspiration out of men in their 60s or 70s that they're not trying to dress young, but what they're wearing is very simplistic and very elegant and stylish. And I think if you keep to style, elegance, quality in the product, you stay away from fashion and trends. I know it works very well for some brands. They do very well at it. But if you just stick to the core basics and keep it timeless, keep it elegant, keep it stylish, and do a really, really good job of those products, you won't go wrong.
Christian, finally, what are your future growth plans for Kempt?
I would say for us, we have, not to belittle it or think that we have it in the bag, we have an audience now. We know that we have it's possible to have a global audience based on the business so far. So what I would really like to do is to continue growing that, but really going back and just each time we go back to the factory to do a new line is to just try and correct any mistakes that we've done in the past and just continue to make the product better and better and better, so that the customer, the end customer, is just happy with what he gets from us. They are already, but I'd love to develop a reputation that one day Kempt is regarded as one of the finest shirts to come out of Europe.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Christian Lawlor from Irish menswear brand Kempt, and I'd like to wish Christian every success in reaching the growth goals for his business.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.